Two.
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do this.
All right, let's go.
Well, welcome everybody to the Ask an Accountant podcast, where we demystify accounting by simply asking your pressing questions to the industry's best and brightest. My name's Tony Wilson, your host, quirky friend, and total accounting nerd. Today I'm joined by my friend Jennifer Cail, who's the founder of Medrano Cail Bookkeeping Professionals, Southwest Florida's premier bookkeeping firm specializing in small business companies and advanced financial advisory services. They provide the most luxurious bookkeeping services imaginable. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. And Jennifer, I'll
Good.
just tell you this right now. I'm doing even better because you're on the show.
Oh, well, thank you.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
it definitely brightened my day. I'm like, what's going on this week?
Yeah.
Friday. Oh, that's right. I've got Jennifer on
Yep.
the show.
Just makes your weekend.
It literally made my weekend. So
Awesome. I can't wait.
yeah, it's I'm really excited. And the thing that's really fun I think about today, and I've noticed a trend in some of the previous guests that we've had, but you, like some of our other guests in the past, have a passion and a focus on teaching and coaching and mentoring. When you and I were chatting a little bit about it, you had mentioned to me about some coaching stuff that you'd started in your
Right.
bookkeeping business. Was that sometime last year, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That's when it started.
Could you tell us a little bit about it? Maybe like what's it called? What's it about? What drove you to it? Like tell us a little bit about that.
Of course. So, my coaching program is actually called the Clarity Program. Why? Because Clarity is about empowering the small businesses to take control of their future, really get past those blocking them from success, just those little things that are just, what is it blocking? So, what do you need to run a successful business? Clarity. You need to set your goals. You need to set your mindset. So, that was a big proponent of starting and helping other business owners be accountable.
That's so cool. That's super cool. And the fun thing about that that coaching service you offer is, a lot of times we think about a bookkeeper or accountant or something like that. We don't initially think to ourselves, oh, this person could be like my business coach.
Right.
But I think as I've discovered, and hopefully those of us who've been watching the show have discovered, is sometimes I think it's the bookkeepers and accountants who are best equipped to help in a coaching situation.
Yes, funny enough, we don't talk much about our dollars and cents as we do mindset and goals. So,
Mm,
how does it look like when we incorporate both of those things together? That's what the Clarity program brings, especially because I'm looking at the financials for my small business owners and also other business owners that want to be held accountable.
mm,
And as you said, we look at the financial side of things where other small business programs may lack it because there's not that experience and expertise.
mm. That's so cool. I love it. I love it. But yes, teacher's heart all the way.
Yep.
That's one of the things we connected about. And we're going to talk about another thing later on in the show. We're going to talk about another instance where you're working on coaching and mentoring. Super excited to dive into that in a little bit. But before
Yep.
we get there, I'd love for you to share a little bit about your story. I mean, obviously, you're running Medrano and Cail Bookkeeping Professionals, but that didn't happen overnight. Like, there's a story that came to where you are today. You want to share a little bit about your story?
Sure. I actually graduated from college with two masters, and it was in the criminal justice field. So, behavioral analysis and forensics. Completely opposite. Went into my dream job with the federal government. Definitely reached some goals that I wanted before the age of 30. And then I had my son, my miracle child. So, life kind of changed in a way, as you know, as parents. And my husband is current law enforcement. So we thought, okay, why doesn't he stay in law enforcement and I will just look into something else? I stayed at home, and they don't tell you that is the most difficult job in the world,
Oh my
being
gosh,
a
yeah.
stay at home mom.
Seriously.
And I decided to retire early. So January of 2020, in the start of COVID, I became a stay-at-home mom after not really being present for my son. And it was a shock. So 6 months in, I tell my husband, I can't do this. My son is amazing. I love him, but I don't know how moms do this, which is why women are amazing individuals. And I decided, what do I know that I can help other people?
Mm.
And I started with bookkeeping. So that is the start of the journey with Medrano Cail. It's
Mm.
expanded a lot from there, but this is why I focus on um, business owners that want that financial freedom and want to spend that time with their family, because that was the foundation of my firm.
That is so cool. I love it. It's like your own story fueled the passion for the way that you serve the market.
That is correct. And also, I wanted people to remember that they are more than a number,
Mm.
and it's a relational, it's not a transactional service with my firm.
Mm.
So all my clients know they're like family. They invite me to birthday parties, events. It's literally like family.
I love that. I love it. And it's something we're going to talk about in just a little
Yep.
bit with like concierge style, but
Hmm.
it's really fun. It's cool to hear just how you have a unique approach and a unique perspective. I say unique, and then I'm also like, but I know there's like a growing mass of bookkeeping accounting professionals who
Yes.
are starting to air towards that trend of being more personable, being more interactive, and it's just fun to hear
Right.
that
It
from you.
is fun. And it's fun to actually speak to your clients, get the feedback, and help them succeed.
Hmm.
You're actually with them every step of the way while they succeed and grow in their business.
Yeah, and celebrating those victories.
Correct.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, you had been in law enforcement
Hmm.
and then you made this transition, which, first of all, can I just say, I loved how you put it, that you retired early
Yeah.
from stay-at-home momming. That's such a great, because I think what it does is it speaks to the reality of being a stay-at-home mom. Like,
Right.
I've loved working from home because I see in a new way just how much work my wife pours
Oh,
into our
yes.
little one. I'm like, that is incredible. I'm so thankful for her.
Right.
But like you got to experience it firsthand. You're like, this is just not for me. So,
It just wasn't. There's a lot of women that mom guilt, and I had to overcome it. But I knew it was the best thing for my son and I.
mm,
Um, I still got to spend days with him, but it's better where I say, okay, I have somewhere else to go. I have adult talk.
mm-hmm.
It's not just, you know, teaching a toddler. But yes, it is a very difficult job. And I commend every woman out there that is a stay at home mom and has a business.
Mm.
And
Oh my gosh.
women are just incredible. Yes.
Yeah, that blows my mind. I'm like, I don't know how you do it, but
Yes, exactly.
that's so cool. So when you made that transition
Mhm.
back in 2020, was there a course or was there something that helped to expedite or like launch that for you?
So I had bookkeeping experience already.
Mm.
I just was looking for more of a community and talking to other bookkeepers. So I actually purchased Bookkeeper Launch, and it was more towards marketing. I've met some amazing individuals from that program. Like I said, it's a community. I didn't want to feel alone because a lot of bookkeepers are introverts. With COVID, you work from home, you're not seeing individuals anymore. So 2020 was really the turn where you found more of a community virtually
Mm.
than you did in person, which was difficult for me because I'm sort of an extrovert. So the this is why I retired early from being a stay-at-home mom. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
with that being said, Bookkeeper Launch was instrumental in helping me gain a community of like-minded individuals where we just share ideas, and also other local bookkeepers that I communicate with even daily. And
Mm.
we just check up on each other, and we're always like, "Hey, how's it
Yeah.
going? Staying here?" Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because for those of you guys who have not seen the very first three episodes are all individuals that I met through this same group that Jennifer's a part of. And I love it. I love that you guys have a Slack community. You
Yep.
guys keep each other, connected. You're helping each other out. And you guys all met each other through this bookkeeper launch program.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. It's very nice. It's good to have other individuals where you can just bounce ideas, vent, or just come and get support.
Yeah, that's so good. So if anybody's watching and they're thinking to themselves, I'm thinking about potentially a career shift into
Mm-hmm.
bookkeeping, like what Jennifer did,
Yeah.
Bookkeeper Lunch is very much recommended. I don't think
Yes.
I've met a single person who's been like, nah, I don't really like it that much. Like everybody I've met, they're like, this is the best thing ever.
Yes, from the curriculum to the community to they just continue expanding their courses, and they just had a conference 2 years in a row. So I was able to attend. That was great to see. Met a lot of new bookkeepers and got to see the bookkeepers that I already knew. So it's very good.
I love it. I
Definitely,
love it.
bookkeeper launch is something to invest in.
That is so, so good. Well, Jennifer, thanks so much for sharing a little bit about your story.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I double click into some very specific questions about
Go ahead.
your scenario? Okay. So, the first question, well, I'm going to give some background to this. Normally, in the calls that I have, I always get to know my guests on these podcasts. And I like to ask the question, who is your ideal client, right? Like, some people will say, I'm looking for plumbers or I'm looking for wineries, something very specific, like a niche like that. When I had asked Jennifer the question, who is your ideal client? Jennifer, what was your response?
Can I say this live?
I think you can. I think this is kids. I don't think kids can watch this.
Okay. Anyone that's not a douche.
And of course, as I'm asking that question, I'm not at all expecting that was going to be what comes out. I was thinking to myself, she's going to say something about a very specific industry. She's just no, people that are enjoyable to work with.
Yes.
That's my niche.
I enjoy talking to my clients, and it's fun because sometimes it's not a right fit, but personality wise it goes a long way. I'm very involved with the clients. Bookkeepers are very involved with their clients' financials, so you want to get along with them.
That's right.
So that's why I said, as long as you're not a douche.
That's good. I think that's valid. It's a good way to find the right fit for you and the right fit for the client. So
correct.
I think that's great. So would you say, is there kind of a niche that you serve? And if so, what would that be?
So I started with serving out women-owned companies here in my hometown of Naples because there was a real fundamental gap with women entrepreneurs. I thought I'd give these powerful women just a leg up with their financial data. And I love that I can help a lot of female founders. But I never excluded men from my services. And it's kind of ironic because they become some of my loyal clients. So I love supporting businesses that are women focused. However, again, as long as I enjoy the client and they aren't someone I don't, then that is my niche. That's where I'm able to go above and beyond as a bookkeeper when helping business owners reach their goals because I really get involved with my client.
Yeah, I think that's really good. And, I'm definitely not a marketing expert,
Mm-hmm.
so I apologize. I'm probably going to butcher this, especially if you're a marketing person who takes a listen to this. But from what I've gathered, there's different ways you can slice and dice a market segment, right?
Yes.
So the first 3 episodes, again, plug for people to go watch our first 3 episodes of the Ask an Accountant podcast. But the first 3 episodes, we talk about niche as in an industry-specific niche.
Right.
And that's one way you can slice and dice your market. But in your scenario, you're looking less of what's the industry I'm trying to support and more about what's the type of service they're looking for, right?
Correct. Because it's more of, there are business owners that just want someone to do the basic bookkeeping, year round, done, they file their taxes. There's others that want to be very involved with their financials and get that advisory services, get that support. And there's also one that want to actually have their call picked up, their email in a reasonable time to them, what may seem, reasonable to them. So that's kind of where my niche differs a little bit more too.
That's really good. Yeah. And would you say that this would be a way of kind of defining what concierge style bookkeeping looks like?
It does. To me, concierge means luxury. It means that when you work with my firm, you can expect us to handle 100% of the financial stuff you're doing. And we're going to deliver reports and numbers to you where you actually understand it and it helps your business. So we don't just do the compliance bookkeeping, which is very important, but we really strive to help our clients understand their numbers and truly move forward to use that understanding to expand and grow their business.
That's so good. Yeah. And, I had highlighted it when you first came on the show, but I think it's so important, especially as you think about, being able to deliver numbers that make a difference in people's decisions.
Right.
You've got to be the type of person, as a bookkeeper, you got to be the type of person that's capable of teaching and educating, coming alongside and coaching in order for that service to work.
Correct. And you have to have a client who's receptive as well. So that's another item because you can have the best bookkeeper provide information to the client, but if the client is not receptive or they may not be ready to hear what you want, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
And that's where the disconnect starts.
That is very, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So I noticed when I was looking through, well, maybe before we move on to the next question, I want to maybe double click a little bit more into,
Yeah.
Concierge white glove service. Like,
Mhm.
You talked a little bit about it already, but like, can you expand a little bit more? Like, what does white glove service in your mind, concierge style service, what does that like practically look like? Do you have like examples of what that would look like?
I do. So white glove is more of that fine touch detail that I provide in terms of clients will call me and ask for questions. They'll ask for answers. I'll say, okay, that's fine. I may not have the answer right away, but I leave them knowing confident that I will go research this. I will get them a response in reasonable time. And I have understood that they are looking for that service right away. So it's not that I'll respond to an email and say, I will get back to you in 7 days. It's
Yeah.
more of, yeah, let me look into this. I truly appreciate you asking this question. I love that you want to learn more about this. Let's see how we can work together.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that's more the concierge. There's also more of an aspect of white glove where it's premium service. I have clients that call me sometimes after hours. They are respectful of my time, but there are sometimes they just need to talk about finances at the end of a long day. And I'll provide that service, answer them. I know a lot of bookkeepers will get upset because I answer calls after hours or on weekends. But what I tell people is you are paying for a service that you know you're going to get, and it's a white glove.
Yeah.
You will get the attention you deserve and need when you need it.
That's right. That's right. That is
Yeah.
so good. And it's fascinating how even just going that extra step above, the communication piece especially, I cannot
Right.
tell you how many times I've heard from people who are just like, I'm so frustrated with my accountant, my bookkeeper,
Yep.
whoever, because I can never get a hold of them.
Right.
Or they say, yeah, I'll go look into that, and then they never get back to me. I always have to hound them.
Correct.
And it's like, you think about just the cost that goes into having to like follow up and like the mental burden of not having that type of person who's reciprocating with
Correct.
you.
Exactly. And it's also just knowing that there's another person on the other side of the line. We've come so accustomed to calling a location and sometimes getting an answering service or getting, that a technical support that has no idea and it's going to put a ticket. With this firm, you're getting top of the line service, white glove. I have clients where I go to their offices to assist them for just a monthly call. Could we do Zoom? Yes. But do they not feel better me coming in sometimes with coffee or not, and just getting that personalized touch and physically touching a piece of paper that has their numbers on it.
That's so good.
So it's a different type of service I provide.
Well, and then as a result, I mean, it's a benefit for you too, because I imagine you are able to charge a little bit more of a premium for that type of service.
Yeah, so it is a fee increase for some individuals, but it is a premium service, and again, it's not for everyone, which is why we have different packages in my firm. And sometimes I'm just not the right fit, and that's okay. You're not going to have every single client.
That's right. If you try to serve everybody, you're not going to serve anybody.
Exactly.
That's so, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So one other thing I noticed as I was getting to know your business a little bit more
Yep.
is you mention advanced financial advisory services. So that, even just the fact that you called that out as a separate thing, it does sound separate and distinct from bookkeeping services. So could you maybe shed some light, tell us a little bit more about some misconceptions that people have when it comes to bookkeeping and what it's not?
Of course. Before we get into that, I do want to just touch more on a little bit of the advanced financial advisory services, just because this goes beyond traditional bookkeeping. This just goes beyond the reconciling transactions, making sure your books are ready for your tax preparer. This is services that business owners do with their financial data, such as cash flow forecasting, the budgeting, and this is stuff we talked about, projections, benchmarking, any other reporting methods that really, truly help them understand where their business is not only now, but where it's going. So that's truly an advanced financial advisory services. But to touch on your point as to what are the misconceptions, The biggest misconception that someone may have about bookkeeping is that it's just, might as well do it for your own, it's just for taxes. Or they don't understand that they make more on the hour that my service costs. So even if it was just about compliance, it would make sense for them to outsource their bookkeeping. This bringing in a house, doing that on the weekends. Who really wants to work on books on the weekend? You want to have fun. So at Medrano Cail, really touch more and goes above that compliance bookkeeper. It's really more of an advisor and a partner to my clients to truly help them be there when they face those tough questions. Like, when are they going to hire? How do they manage those cash flow during the slow months? So this is all how it sets us apart.
Yeah, no, that's good. And you had said when it comes to bookkeeping, like one of the misconceptions is people don't always think clearly about what is the opportunity cost, right?
Correct.
And that was kind of what you're getting at is like, what would I be doing if I wasn't, hiring this out, right? Like, or if I had either I have to do this or I get to do something else.
Right.
And it sounds like there's a lot of misconception about, what it is that you're actually sacrificing. And you gave a great example. It's like, I kind of want to just enjoy my time on the weekends, right?
Correct. Right.
Yeah. So somebody like that, it might make more sense to hire somebody to do it if you feel like that's more valuable to use your time.
Right. It's because what holds value? Your time holds value. Your time. What are you going to look back on? The weekend you spend with your children or the weekend you spent doing your bookkeeping?
Yeah. That's good. That is really, really good.
And again, small business owners, any business owner, why do they open their business? Yes, it's a job, but it's a business, a passion that they brought into fruition. But they also use it to get the financial freedom to spend it with either their family or traveling or doing the things that they have worked so hard for.
That's right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. One other misconception I want to tease out, because this is actually something we have harped on in one of our former previous episodes, but you had mentioned it, that sometimes people assume bookkeeping is merely a compliance function, right?
Correct.
We're only doing bookkeeping for the purposes of being able to file our taxes, but
right. And it's
a misconception.
Not. Because if you're still doing your own books or you're working with a compliance-based bookkeeper, which that's okay if that's your need, but you're not running your business as effectively as you could be. Think about it. The billion-dollar companies in America all have huge accounting teams. They say don't skimp on accounting or legal. And it's not just to keep their books straight for taxes. It's because the data can really help determine their future in the business.
Totally the case. Not to give too much away, but even just today, I was having a conversation with one of my clients, and the amount of data that goes into meaningful decisions about, hey, are you guys pricing yourselves right? Hey, are you guys, what's your production capacity? Like all these things, if all you're doing is coming into your bookkeeping service with the lens of, oh, I'm only providing a compliance service, you miss out on all that super meaningful data, and you're just shooting yourself in the foot.
Correct. And it's also, yes, there is the data entry portion. We talked about this. Bookkeeping is data entry. It starts with data entry. But what else does it evolve to? And how does it evolve by growing your business? So that's why just the compliance-based bookkeeping, which accountants love because your books are going to be in compliance. Right. But even the accountant will tell you, why don't you have a bookkeeper? And that there's a lot of accountants. That's why we work great together. Accountants and bookkeepers always work great. Accountants don't want to do the bookkeeping. Right. They don't. They don't want to do those cleanups. They want clean financials to provide that tax advice for the best interest in the client.
Yeah, 100% agree. Totally agree. That's so good. You're helping us tear apart some misconceptions. Can you help us tear apart maybe one other misconception when it comes to bookkeepers? If there
We're
was
not
one.
all introverts.
Yeah, there we go. Wait a second. Wait. You mean to tell me that not every single bookkeeping accounting professional just wants to, go hide in a hole and never talk to anybody?
No, there is actually a good number of bookkeepers, a good amount of bookkeepers that actually enjoy, going out, networking, meeting other people, having speaking engagements, just really getting it out there and talking about the benefits of bookkeeping and increasing, the profits for a business owner. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, so we're not all introverts. We don't all hide, even though my office is usually dark. We don't all hide in a dark office.
Oh, that's so
So
great.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's another misconception.
Well, and I think it needs to be dispelled because
Mhm.
sometimes what'll happen, and it's a really a bad thing about these misconceptions is we have a misconception about what a bookkeeper or accountant is, and so therefore, when we encounter it in the marketplace, right? We hire a bookkeeper that's not personable, that's not talking to me, whatever it is. We assume because we have a misconception,
Right.
we assume that that's the norm, and so therefore we don't have this expectation that we can go find it somewhere else.
Correct. And it's more of that. Exactly. It's that expectation. I've had many clients transition to my firm from other bookkeepers. And it's not that the bookkeeping was bad. They just didn't have a relationship with their bookkeepers.
Right.
They
Right.
didn't know the relationship was possible.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think part of it stems from these long, like deep-seated misconceptions about
Right.
accountants and bookkeepers.
Right.
And you being on the show helps us to to break apart that misconception. So,
Right. There's a lot of bookkeepers and accountants that would love to just chat with their clients and again, look at conferences
mhm,
that we attend. It's not all numbers. So,
that's right. I
yeah.
think there is some karaoke in there too.
There was karaoke, yes.
This is gonna totally embarrass her, but okay, if you guys go back to episode 1 and go back to episode 4, those two fine individuals, Susan Burt and Mark Coram, the two of them met up at Bookkeeper Launch. This is
Yep,
the conference you're talking about,
yep.
and they did some karaoke. I wish I could post a video. Maybe they'll allow me to post a video on our YouTube
I
channel.
don't think Susan would allow that, and she's probably watching right now and saying,
Probably
"I am
really
going to
terrified.
strangle him."
Uh huh.
But yeah, yeah, there was a lot of fun times, especially at the conference. It was a lot, and all of us got together and we're really enjoying the time. And there was just a lot going on. I was
Amazing.
peopled out though. I said it. I was peopled out when I came back. I know it was too
The
much. I was
extrovert is peopled out.
even extroverts get peopled out. Yeah, it's
Wow.
we there was a lot going on.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
well, I believe it, but that still blows
yeah,
my mind.
yeah.
That's crazy. So I do have a couple more
Yeah, go
questions,
ahead.
and one of them actually has to do with what we had talked about at the very beginning. Um, when it comes to your coaching practice. So we already talked a little bit about the Clarity Project,
Mhm.
but there was this other coaching service, this other mentorship program that you recently started up. What one was that one called?
This one's called the Bookkeeping Mentors. So this is a new business that I founded with 7 other amazing bookkeeping professionals. 2 of them are actually bookkeepers and accountants.
Hmm.
And it was about all empowering others in the financial industry to finally grow their business.
Hmm.
So similar to the Clarity coaching, this more approach was about accountability with
Mhm.
having 7 mentors.
Hmm.
And actually, our new coaching program, the Bookkeeping Mentors Club, is actually a program that is all women-owned bookkeeping and accounting professionals,
Wow,
and they help businesses accelerate faster. So there was a
that's
lot
cool.
that went into this. The reason why we decided to start this program was to train people in our industry how to set up, workflows, handle the client's books, and not more about launching your business, but more about growing from the ground up.
Hmm.
Yes.
That's so cool. And as
Mm-hmm.
you're saying that, there's so many instances that I've come across, very dear friends of mine, one in particular who is currently helping out as a bookkeeper. Um, and I hear so many stories about, phenomenal women who had either, very bright career prospects on the horizon, or they just, because maybe they got married young and they had kids young, they ended up foregoing some of those potential career opportunities, and now their kids are at a spot where either they're moving out of the house or they're going to school for the first time,
Right.
and these moms, stay-at-home moms in particular, are like, now what? Like, now what do I do? And the thing I think is so cool about this mentorship program that you're doing is you are coming alongside, I'd imagine, a decent amount of women in that situation, right?
Oh, yes. And it is. And it's, getting those women and helping them build their businesses. It's not just a training program like Bookkeeper Launch. Bookkeeper Launch shows you the foundations, so this we just tackle on, and we are helping business owners like those moms or other women empowered individuals that really want to expand their business and show how they can grow it and make it profitable.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And is this in like a beta version right now, or is this like you guys are fully launched? Like what stage is it in right now?
So we had a retreat in Savannah, Georgia earlier this year, and this all came to fruition. I mean, we fast paced this. We got with a marketing director. We did the course, we're everything. So we are in the stages of actually taking in the applications, getting people started. We're going to plan a retreat. So a lot of eventful things are happening, and it's going to be mind blowing, life changing.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. So if somebody wanted to get to like sign up for this, like where do they go?
They would either go to the bookkeepingmentors.com and then, or they could follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook and
Yeah.
Instagram. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Social media.
Social
Yes.
Go to the social medias, people. Are you guys on
Yes.
LinkedIn too, or what?
Not yet, but we should be. I think LinkedIn is very, I don't know. I will say you touched on marketing earlier. I absolutely love my marketing manager. I will forever say this, but Miller with Bellflower Media is the absolute best. But we haven't reached LinkedIn because we're so focused on Facebook and social media, especially because who isn't on Facebook and social media besides yourself? But we just talked about it. But it's just saying there's a lot of people that are always engaging on these apps where you can make a story and stuff. So, but we are trying to get into LinkedIn, and we will.
True. That's true. Yeah, LinkedIn is kind of one of those. I'm on it. That's my primary social media outlet.
Right.
I think even people on LinkedIn would say it's like maybe like not the most engaging of platforms, but hey,
But you can make it engaging because you engage all the time with your clients.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And your viewers. So yes.
Yep. Post about this all the time on LinkedIn. So plug
Love
right
it.
now. Go ahead and follow if you haven't already.
Yes. Yes.
So Jennifer, before we wrap up, I wanted to give you an opportunity to convey some words of wisdom for a moment, if you will. So, we're hearing about rumors of an impending recession, and we know, like as you and I were talking about, a lot of small business owners out there are considering what best ways to prepare for the impending recession, if there really is one. So what words of wisdom would you give to that entrepreneur that's out there who might be thinking of cutting costs in their business?
My best advice would be to focus on the cash flow and get a really good bookkeeper who can help you plan in advance. I also want to say that cutting costs isn't the best way to plan for a recession. In fact, you cut your costs in certain areas, you might see your business decline before the other shoe even drops. Instead, I would say keep really good cash flow and ensuring that you're saving money for a rainy day, which is obviously important, and diversifying your income streams, which is very essential. And people have said it, passive incomes, get other things going. Tons of people have saved their businesses during the pandemic by just creating new options that fit with what is going on in the times. So these strategies are more profitable and efficient than just saying we're going to cut and outsource, such as marketing or bookkeeping. These are the times where you really have to work with a good bookkeeper to keep moving forward during this.
That's so good. So what I'm hearing you say is, yes, I mean, at some point, maybe cutting costs is important, but be very careful which costs you're cutting.
Right. And not too fast.
Right. Yeah. Because you might be unnecessarily, cutting yourself off at the knees if you are cutting the wrong things.
Exactly. And you don't want that. No one wants that. Exactly.
Nope. So real quick plug, do not skimp on bookkeeping, even if the recession is upon us. Like you got to find a way to navigate, like you said, through cash flows, through understanding what's happening in your business from a financial perspective. Bookkeeper is one of the last things you should be getting rid of.
That is correct. You don't think about it. You don't get rid of your accountant because you still got to pay your taxes. You need someone to give you that best tax advice. So why would you cut who's helping with those projections for your future?
That's right. Yeah. So good. Good words of wisdom. Take those to heart, everybody who's listening.
Yeah.
All right, Jennifer. Well, I do want to say thank you so much for joining us. Where can people go to find you on the interwebs if they have questions or they want to get to know you better?
Definitely. So I always welcome everyone to follow me on Instagram, Medrano and Cail, or Facebook, Medrano and Cail Bookkeeping Professionals. I have a really nice website also. You can contact me there. Yeah. And also you can even shoot me a text. My phone's probably on my website now. Yeah. And I'll answer back. Tell me you saw me here. But I always love to connect with individuals. It's so great to meet the other people on social media or followers.
Yeah, that is so good.
Yeah.
And I will just shoot a quick plug out here. Jennifer is a dream to talk to. She is so much
Yeah.
fun. She's hilarious. She's down to earth. You're not gonna be disappointed in even just having a conversation with her. So for sure, take her up on the opportunity to get to know her if you don't already know who she is. So
And Tony, thank you so much for doing this. Like your podcast has brought out so many of us that I love it. Just talking to Stephen and Cheryl and Susan, it's been such a great highlight to have people on. So hopefully I can come on again, even having the Bookkeeping Mentors Club come on in the future. But I look forward to all your lives. And
oh,
you have such great insight, especially when people interrogate you.
thank you.
Yeah.
That might be happening at some point in the future too.
I heard, I know. Yeah, that's
That's
exciting.
awesome. Oh, Jennifer. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
So, for everybody who's watching, I hope you guys found value in today's episode. So, if you have a pressing accounting question that you would like future guests to answer, you can go ahead and email me at tony@equip.com. That's ACCQUIP.com. And also, if you are an accounting professional or you know somebody who might be interested in coming on the show, please go ahead and reach out to me as well. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in today. And as always, keep calm and keep your clothes on.